Reykjafoss. Pretty falls. Another nifty gate lock. Here just a double link or S hook, and you bend it, and then you have this long narrow gizmo here, which actually is for a electric fence, and then it goes down through these two original hinge points. That's Akureyri's impressive civic center, as well as cultural center and information office. And this apparently is the old section of town, so we're going to wander through it looking for old. This is interesting because the metal siding that you see normally is seen on ceilings on the interior. Notice this house's exterior, fish scales if you will. And the other ones, the other two, same builder it looks like, using that interior ceiling stamped design metal, which is interesting. Might be older buildings. This one looks more authentically so. Those are the big windows. Looking more like an apartment house than it may well have been. And unlike the rest of Iceland I've seen so far, here's an exuberance of colors. Look like new buildings that have been embellished with that metal ceiling. Interesting, it's all cement. This has to be old and relatively unique in that it's all stone. Not that there's a shortage of stone in Iceland. Don't know if that's old or not. Back at the old part of town, this looks like a park, but what's interesting are these mounds or berms inside of it. What used to be here. A little city park, whether it was original or not, I don't know. But it's pretty nicely maintained. Now it's surrounded by ugly concrete. We're going to walk down this street, which is parallel to the one I just walked up. But first I want to look at this house over here, since it looks so traditional, a la Reykjavik. Some I can't tell whether they're original houses or whether they're old cement houses that they have embellished with that metal on the outside. Because I saw one older house is being completely restored apparently inside. Don't know what they're going to do to the outside. What's in here, not sure where it came from. Notice it says country of destination, Iceland. There are two houses. This one looks like it's just cement on the outside. This looks like it's identical design, but with nicer, newer windows and with that metal on the outside. What's the fact? What's the fiction? What's old? What's new? Here look like some older homes. But notice the one way down there, the gray one, looks like it's had an addition put on in the form of a second story. This one being redone, but is it simply being restuccoed? Well, they secured lath to the outside. It's quite possible they're going to continue to put that lath on there and then just side this building with that metal. You probably can't match this for ugly cement architecture, the City Hall. except in communist countries. Many countries won't let you video the city hall. They're afraid someone will blow it up. These people should hope for it. At least I'll compliment them on the use of color to brighten up the landscape and hopefully spirits. A few houses on the hill overlooking what would have been the old town. I guess that may be a Danish influence. This is the main square that I've wandered into in my pursuit of the church, the famous church. This is where that square is now. I believe, oh yeah, here's where the information center and the cultural center was that I'm parked at, and I've wandered, just so you're aware, over in this area here, and I'm just cutting across into here looking for this church, which I now know must be down here. It should be to my right. This is what this square looked like in the 1967 during the frequent snowstorms of the harsh 1949-1950 winter that forced people to transport goods by sled. This scene shows the square in 1945 after the bus had just delivered a bunch of people here from somewhere. This is the 1st of May 1923, people all dressed up in their finest for the celebrations here. Church should be down here. This may be Artists Street. Only possible hope for something of interest is way down there. You see those two conical steeple type things on a building, and then looks like some interesting architecture beyond. Otherwise, this is the Indian curry hut. One can hope that it's an original building, but I have no idea. This looks like an older building, but I pause mainly to prolong the enthusiasm I have for that building. I'll walk across the street and go inside and see if anybody knows anything about that. This looks like the part of town that may have some authenticity, or once did. At one time, this might have been one of the key centers of town, close to the water. And up the hill, the new church. And like so many religious churches, redundant, requires my penitence of walking up those stairs. Boy, do I feel humble. An attempt made at stained glass. Too bad we can't go inside. Look at it. Some kind of waterside monument. Looks like a bird. And I can't see what the vertical piece is from this angle. More traditional than the other two that we've seen. Perhaps its best angle. This area was the original old area of Akureyri. Whether that big pond was there or not at the time, I don't know. I assume it was. And this is the site of the museum. But now we're going to walk along this main drag all the way down about half a mile to the oldest house in Akureyri, which looks like the oldest house in Reykjavik. Notable. I don't know if that church is an original, whether it's original in situ or whether it was moved here. I believe all the homes that we look at down through here are still occupied. This is a quaint home. Notice the fire escape ladder, and notice the little building in the back. Looks like an old Willis Jeep, but I don't think it is a Willis. I'm guessing that this might have been an old school. You wonder if this frontage of rocks was here originally as a breakwater for that home, or whether it was just a very pretty form of lawn decoration. I wonder if this home was actually two homes, or was that an original outbuilding? For those that speak the language, I think this is a complete description of each of the property's history. And you'll notice another property with a wall, and here a less defensive wall, but perhaps equally functional for this home. Prettier with the flowers. There's a whole bunch of some kind of bird roosting in this tree. A couple of larger buildings, whether these were homes or they're ugly looking design-wise, or whether they were apartment units, who knows. Another simple and lower kind of breakwater. It's a large, almost 4-story high Danish design, I'll call it.